Hell yeah, I told you I'd be back, and here we are. I have some here from White Mountain Knives, and I have this little tiny one that's addressed to me. And if I didn't really get a shipping confirmation on it, but what I'm assuming it is some replacement part things here for this petrified fish sculler. This is yeah, what is the model number on this? PFE04. This one's in olive wood, but I did notice that the top screw on here is a little stripped. So when the company reached out to me through Amazon, it wasn't anything special. I said to contact them if I had any problems, and I did mention, hey, I think this screw is stripped, and they said they were going to send me some replacements. I suppose the unboxing knife that I feel like today, because I am very amused by it, is yeah, this guy. You just recently seen it in the video, TS346. I've been taken to calling this thing the Giga Chad. It's got over a 5mm blade stock thickness. It's ridiculous, but still comes to a ridiculously thin edge, so the geometry is quite awesome on it. But let's see. Well, that seems to be what was in there. And it just looks like a standard set of hardware screws. So that's good. Yeah. And hey, they are going to match. So that's great. I was actually worried that if they were going to send me a whole thing of hardware, that they would have to send another titanium clip. And I'm like, I don't really think that's necessary. But, well, here we are. I haven't blanked out my address on these guys in particular, so I will go ahead and pop them open just off camera. Oh, cool! It was just the outside of this one that they had my address stuff on there. So good. All right, now what do we got in here? We got CJRB, which, yeah, if you're familiar, they are also an Artisan Cutlery kind of brand here. We got another Artisan Cutlery, we got a Civivi, and hey, another Artisan Cutlery. We got a lot from them, apparently. So, okay, the deal with these is they were basically all used and or damaged. So, some of these things were meh, and some of them I'll probably need to attempt to fix. But, yeah, I don't really have a particular order in which I'm interested in opening these things. So, yeah, let's go with this. I'll grab a little bit less of a tall knife so I can slide it in there to get these things out. Alright, this is one of the Feldspars, large Feldspar, the button lock variant. I already have the one in the red and black carbon fiber twill kind of thing. Nothing really bad seems to be going on with this one here. This one's in black micarta, so it is a little bit different. It also has contouring on it, which the other one didn't. So, that's neat. Also, AR RPM 9 steel, and geez, I think this thing was $35 or something like that, maybe 40. I don't know exactly. All right, let's see. What do we have in this box? This is yeah, I do believe this one was used, so it shouldn't really have any troubles going on with it. This is a Gavco Knives design. This one, because of that finish, it's also an exclusive to White Mountain Knives, the place where I got it. There we go. So I don't really expect any problems coming out of this one here. It just, for the price, seemed quite nice to be able to pick up. This one is also in RPM 9 steel. A bit kind of a funky out there look and vibe to the blade itself, which is why I didn't pick one of them up originally when they first came out there. Just like the Feldspar, I can see a couple of areas where some of the threads of this particular material are kind of out there, but only a couple. It's fairly easy to take care of. But yeah, the action on this thing seems nice. This one was considered used, so I'm assuming that the knife edge is probably at least a little bit messed up, but it doesn't feel like much. So, all right. Well, there's one of those down. I might as well go through the rest of the Artisan Cutlery lineup, and then I'll end on that Civivi. So, what do we got here? Pack of snacks. Okay, yeah. This guy. Another AR RPM 9. It's a decent steel, so I don't really have any problem with any of that in particular. Let's see, I want to remember the name of this knife. Shoot, I don't have it up to... it looks quite a bit like the Sirius. But a little bit different designer and stuff like that. But yeah, nice taller blade there. Flat-sided scales, or maybe just ever so slightly having a little tiny bit of a radius on those handles there, but nice and comfortable. I do feel the pocket clip there. It may not be the absolute best specifically for a saber grip for me, but doing it in that hammer grip, that gorilla grip fist sort of thing, no problems at all there. And the pinch grip is super nice. Really nice and grippy texture on the micarta there, so that's great. This seems to be just standard canvas micarta. So, yeah. I always like me some nested liners, and that definitely has them. So there's that, which means I should know what this other one is. That should be the quote-unquote classic. And it is indeed. So, yeah, this thing does not have much of a detent. That is for sure. Well, the detent feels like it lets go pretty soon. Or it has a bit of a snap to it. So maybe it's just a little bit more action-oriented that I would have to worry about here. This is in straight-up D2. This is definitely an older model from them. I do think it's discontinued, as is I do believe this one as well. This one kind of reminded me, it's about the same kind of a pattern that some of the newer Finch knives have been made in, but this is obviously much larger. Yeah, I will have to try to play with the action on there, because I do have just a little bit of a side-to-side play there, but still feels kind of funky. Not grindy or anything like that, but yeah, it still feels a little strange. This is just black and white marbled G10 that they've done some milling checkering to. But it looked kind of interesting, and since they are, now discontinued, figured I would pick it up. Nice work that they did here on the back spacer, where it has those same layers rather than just using a standard flat black for it or something like that most people would do. So that's great. Handle isn't really going to be super ergonomic. Pinch grip actually totally sucks because of this here, so that's probably not exactly the way that I would want to end up using this thing. But for a lot of the other kind of grips and everything, especially reverse, I suppose, with that extended part right there for me to rest my thumb there. Yeah, that's pretty nice. All right, so there's that. Let's go ahead and toss the bags back in here. So I suppose that brings my Artisan Cutlery count up to 5, I want to say, because I have the Sirius, and I also have the Shark, which, just like this one, is kind of a, probably was around before CJRB was. So it's, you know, a little bit more on their cheaper end. All right, and this Civivi guy, this was... Yeah, this guy is another Consiprator, but this time I got it in the Quabortia wood. This one, I want to say it supposedly was broken. Like, I need to deal with the button lock on it or something like that. But, well, at the moment it seems fine. It does have a little bit of blade play, so probably have to work on the pivot on that a little bit. But action seems to be nice and fine. Let me grab out a cutting board so I can at least see whether or not the stupid button lock's going to fail. Okay, no, it's nice and solid. I'd rather do that with the blade facing something of a cutting surface that isn't these. I kind of like these intact. But, well, damn, for me basically buying 4 used and or supposedly broken knives, I'm not seeing too much of a problem with any of them. So that's pretty sweet. I thought they said the CJRB also had some, the button wasn't working on it, but I suppose maybe not. I do have maybe 1 or 2 others that are still coming from Artisan, or not Artisan, but White Mountain Knives here that had issues as they were returns or something like that. That might come a little bit later in the week. And I do think that one was also listed as broken, which I was like, it's kind of interesting. At least button locks, for the most part, are decently straightforward to try to troubleshoot some problems with. So I figured I would give it a shot. Yeah, I really do like the figuring on at least the show side here. Kind of have a little bit of a knot there, so some bowing and stuff like that. And on the back side, yeah. Yeah, this particular wood, it's essentially an African hardwood, does a pretty darn good job of actually feeling nice and dense, like a desert ironwood or something like that, where it feels stabilized or just hard enough on its own. That's kind of in stark contrast to something like olive wood, which is nice and light and fairly attractive. But once you end up actually dealing with it, especially on the inside of these guys where they're a little unfinished, you can tell that this is just straight wood. So you do need to take care of them a little bit. If this was in a really high humidity environment, it would probably become a problem over time. The scales kind of warping or something like that. But these guys really aren't going to have that problem. Still has that same kind of gray finish to it. It's still nitro-v steel, which is great. This has become one of my favorite Civivis. That's definitely why when I saw that there was another one, I wanted to get on top of that and grab it. We still have that same wiggly Civivi clip there, which I've kind of found out after buying some titanium replacement clips that it's not necessarily the clip itself, it's basically the mounting system there. I think there might be just not enough space between those 2 screws and or the fact that it also sits proud of the scales in almost all cases that allows it to kind of work itself loose and stuff like that. So just replacing the clip on those probably not going to work out for you if you're trying to figure something like that out, but I don't know. maybe in the future. Well, I don't know. I do have a little tiny milling kind of thing. It was designed for a Dremel, so to fit into it, so it's nothing special. But if I could figure out how to channel something like that out on some scales, that might make things just a little bit nicer. But yeah, you can see on this Artisan guy here that it's flush with it. So yeah, much more stable. Yeah, this thing's quite nice. Quite nice. But, alright, I suppose I can comment just a little bit there on these guys being in AR RPM 9 steel. If you're not familiar with it, which I'm sure probably most of you are who are actually watching the video, but it's a proprietary powder metallurgy budget steel from Artisan Cutlery. That's where the AR comes in. And it took them a while to kind of talk and explain some of the chemical makeup of the steel, but it is essentially a powder metallurgy version of 440C or 9CR 18 MOV, that kind of stuff there. Which, you know, way back in the day, we're talking like 70s and 80s, was actually known as S60V. But yeah, it never really got super popular back then because a lot of the milling and machining equipment just really had a difficult time with them, so knives really weren't made out of the stuff. But hey, it seems like things are definitely different now, you know, with diamond and tungsten carbide and things like that for different milling bits. It probably makes it a lot easier to work with. And yeah, it's a pretty darn good steel. I've tested it up against CJRB's D2, which isn't exactly the absolute best D2. I'm going to be honest with you. I've tested a lot better. But it does work. Its cut testing is just a little bit above the D2 that I did. I think it was 20 to 30 of my little rope cut things. This stuff here between them, so yeah, it does a pretty good job. And hey, it's stainless to boot, so it's not just going to be your standard D2 that can develop problems over time, like, you know, something due to leaving some fingerprints on the blade if you're not using any corrosion inhibitors or anything like that. So, all right, that's what I got now. As for the last set here, I just finished the other day. Finished putting my nice shiny polished edges on them. I'm still surprised by how thin this guy gets behind the edge for it being a 5.1 millimeter blade stock. Yeah, this thing is ridiculous. I am enamored with it at the moment. It's fantastic, but. Cool. So I will, you know, play around with these guys, take them apart, try to clean them up, see if there actually is kind of issues that I haven't quite located yet going on the inside, so they can be a little bit more reliable and stuff like that. But otherwise, yeah, this was a fantastic haul. So yeah, I will be back in just a little bit with the last of them in the set here, and then I will probably try to send that out afterwards. So catch you then. And I'm back. So yeah, I got a few things here. I also got a Smoky Mountain Knife Works catalog, which are kind of fun to kind of thumb through. This was basically after buying one knife, maybe close to a year ago, the CJRB Silex. And, I mean, the advertisement things that actually come in here hurt my brain a little bit. And they make me think of, you know, a lot of old folks catalogs from back in the day. I don't know, maybe your grandparents got some Fingerhut catalogs or something like that sent to you. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, let's go ahead and cut these things open. Today, because I had it, because I was playing around with it, I got the TwoSun TS 322 I don't honestly know if it's designed for front flipping, but you can. There we go. This one, interesting design, really small Warncliffe thing, M390. If I remember right, the designer's name is Prashanta Kumar Roy. I don't honestly know if any of those three names should have been in a different order, but hey, that's basically what I've ended up getting from the eBay listings and everything that I got this. But nice titanium frame lock. We got some marbled carbon fiber inserts. Really, really thick blade though. Comes down really, really quick down to that point. A lot like that D. Antimonov, which I honestly don't know if I'm pronouncing that correct either. One that I had just taken a look at earlier, where it comes down very, very, very thin, but yeah, it's still quite thick. So, let's see. This box here is from White Mountain Knives. And, hey, well, there's the first thing, which probably isn't going to interest a huge amount of folks. But, yeah, I wanted some more belts. This is the, I believe, yeah, it's the super stiff belts for the blade grinding attachment, Ken Onion edition, blah, blah, blah. The X200 Ultra Coarse belt is fantastic, but once it wears down, well, that's kind of all she wrote. And mine's kind of reaching the end of its lifetime. So here is the knife that I ended up getting and waiting a while since this got kind of lost in the mail for a little bit. But it's Viper Knives. It's an Italian-made knife. Hey, it's actually sealed. But, yeah. This thing did look quite interesting to me. Hey, it comes with a little leather slip, too. That's neat. I'm assuming English is going to be on the other side. Yeah. Or at least further down the page. Sure. It's just some instructional stuff. Alright, there's a nice and soft little leather pouch thing for it here. And here we are. This thing is actually a little larger than I thought it was going to be. This is the Viper Hug. At least the bronze variant of it. They do make quite a few other variants that are all titanium based. You can get that with, there's quite a few different carbon fibers, or quite a few different micarta options, whether you get just a center one or all the way to the end kind of insert. But, yeah, this one has a darkened bronze handle to it, and that makes this thing weigh a lot. Nice, nice. Very, very stiff walk and talk on it, which is pretty darn good. I honestly don't remember off the top of my head who the designer is for that, but I know they do have him listed, so I should probably throw him up on the screen here if I remember to do so in post-production, if you will. But, yeah, this thing is a slip joint. Crown spine, well, it's an Italian-made knife, so that's fairly commonplace for them. We also have basically a crowned back spring, which is great. Nice, comfortable. You can get a full 4 fingers on there. Absolute ideal, though. I would have the ricasso of the blade, I suppose, meet level with that handle, just to make it a little bit more comfortable for a forward grip on it. But you know, it's absolutely not necessary. This doesn't feel uncomfortable at all. Hey, there you go. So yeah, M390 blade. I hope that the treatment is quite nice on it. I have not thus far owned anything from Viper. I don't think they were really part of that whole fiasco about Lion Steel doing a fairly soft M390 when they started out with it. But hey, there you go. This one's got the little starburst kind of pattern on there. That looks nice now, and this part will actually patina over time, whereas the darkened portion obviously won't. They do have another version just like this where they black the blade out. Yeah, I was interested in getting a slip joint, and this one really called to me. Seems super nice. It is very much a modern one. It's not a pin construction. At least from the front. You know, I could always be surprised when I actually remove those few screws and remove a scale, but I don't really think so. These are flat slab scales. Outside of, they've milled out just a little itty bitty portion up top here, looks like. Probably helps with the fitment of the back spring and all that sort of stuff. And I'm glad to see, as you can see here too, that there is a stop pin back there. So that should, yeah, prevent you from accidentally squeezing that blade while it's in the closed position, which can have the blade kind of hit the back thing there. The nail neck is it's okay. It's nice and sharp, so it will it'll grab you. So that's good. And it's got about a standard grind on it. Not super laser beam, but you know, it's also not an axe. It's just a nice overall knife. You can toss that in there. Seems like see if there's a particular way. Yeah, probably something like that. I don't know. Nope, it's gonna go probably that way. Hey. Yeah, super nice way to carry it. Actually, still in your pocket rather than attached to it. But I still do have that MKM sheath in case I wanted to do something else with it. But yeah, super attractive and flashy and all that sort of stuff. I like it. I like it quite a bit. With that being said, but if we go for these two guys, I do believe both of these are TwoSuns. Well, I'm right on the first account. Can I be 2 for 2? Hell yeah, I can. Alright. Eeny, meeny, miny. Let's go with that one. Okay, this was a long design. It was kind of an interesting looking one to it. It says, wow, it's got all sorts of deployments on it. We got a back flipper, front flipper, and a thumb stud. Well, this thing really has that offset serrated knife or sandwich knife, if you will, kind of look to it, which can be kind of nice. This is titanium and red G10, which, hey, you don't really see that on a huge amount of knives. Probably because these days G10 is viewed much more as a budget material rather than you know, the much better alternative to the FRN that a lot of companies have been using to try and save weight on some knives recently, like Actinon Verba and Benchmade and Hogue. Calling y'all out, damn it. But yeah, this is pretty interesting. Really, really comfortable in the hand, because this dip down in front here, it's got both of these little jimping areas. Got an interesting sharpening choil here. It goes rather gradually, but it looks like we got a few sharpenings in there before anything happens to it. And a gray coating on the blade. It's kind of interesting. Does look to be a different process than what they've done on some of their other ones. I can still see not quite as obvious in this one as I have on something like the Artisan Cutlery Sirius that I'd looked at. But I can see a little bit of those satin striations going on the blade there, which makes me think that this was probably a PVD coating of some sort, whether it's DLC or something like that, or maybe Cerakote. I don't honestly know if they have the capability to do something like that, but at least with the lighter graphite kind of color to it, that's what comes to my mind at least. But yeah, super nice. I mean, it is basically a Wharncliffe, I would say modified. It has just the slightest bit of curve going on to it. And sure, we'll go with reverse Tonto with it. Because, well, the Benchmade did it. Did it a long time ago, but it did it. I guess if you're looking in the kitchen cutlery kind of space, some people will call this a K-tip as well. Kind of looks like the inside of the letter K in the English alphabet. I've seen that mentioned a couple of times, but yeah, this thing is feeling pretty nice and light for you know what it is. This is a full fat titanium frame lock. It's got the coating on there, so the action could probably use a little massaging. It's definitely smooth all the way through, just not quite drop shut kind of action going on there. Tip, fully covered up, so it doesn't have something like the TS313 did. And yep, the blade is sufficiently hidden in there, so you're not going to accidentally slice yourself with it. The back flipper works pretty good on it. Front flipper works pretty good on it. And the thumb stud, it's not exactly tuned exactly for it, but this one is much better than the TS182, I want to call it. Let's see if I can't pull it out. Yeah, I guess on the first time. Yeah, it is the TS182. This guy, the one with the full titanium, or full carbon fiber scales. But this one has a really, really stiff detent, so it's actually a little painful to open up with the thumb stud. This one's not quite like that. It's still a little stiff for it, but easy enough to deal with. It might also have something to do with, well, yeah, not exactly. The pocket clip, at least a little bit, sits on top rather than just on the lock bar there. But when the lock bar is closed, it is basically just almost making contact. I can at least see a little bit of light coming on through there, but I don't know if that's coming out through the camera. But yeah, pretty interesting. So this is nice in the saber grip. Pinch grip is okay. This thing is quite pointy for it, so maybe not my preferred method there. Reverse grip is decent enough with it if you're trying to cut something like that. And reverse grip, again, with that little pointy bit there. Not sure if that was designed as an impact point or just something that he ended up liking. But yeah, this one's pretty interesting. I would like to find out a little bit more information on the blade coating they're using on that guy. But, oh yeah, what is the number on this one? This is a TS258. It is brand new. Yeah, they're still backfilling some numbers. So there's that. And this one, I do believe, is stateside already from White Mountain Knives. They ended up getting it before I did. This is the color variant, and this one has a ton of packing oil all up on it. Let me grab my little microfiber cloth to kind of clean this off a little bit. Yeah, there we go. This one's quite the trailing point actually going on this guy. I didn't think the point was quite that pronounced from the pictures, but that's okay. Again, deep thumb cut out here. And it's also deeply slick with that oil stuff, so I will probably have to clean these guys up. Usually with these anodized ones, I end up having to clean them off with acetone, maybe Windex. It depends on what you actually have on you. Just some sort of a degreaser kind of thing, and it does help the colors pop on it, as well as you know, in this particular case, just remove that film of oil that's actually on there. This one is quite thin behind the edge. Looks like they've done a pretty good job of going for a deep grind on that, which is pretty cool. This one's got a satin finish. Let's see, what's the number on this one? The 367. It's got a forward finger choil that's you know, serviceable for me. So that means if you got some normal sized hands, then you're super golden with this one in particular. But for me, I think I would still prefer just a little bit more. But in general, I know it's not exactly anywhere near as easy or costly to manufacture, but I do like when a finger choil doesn't have an overgrind into it or something like that. It just makes me feel a little bit more in control and safe from it, that if I am right behind the edge there. You know how it goes. We got titanium milled pocket clip mounted on the back end of the titanium. And okay. So this is actually not something I was expecting. This material on the top here, from all of the pictures that I had seen of it at least, led me to believe that it was carbon fiber inserts. But these are micarta. It has that texture like their newer canvas stuff rather than the burlap stuff that they've had before. So really enthused that they've been using that rather than the really funky stuff for some of their newer ones. And they've had something like the TS-129, that really popular one. They've come out with a D2 and micarta front scale version of that, and it's using the canvas micarta as well. It's got that cutout here with plenty of, well, the detent isn't incredibly strong for it, so I could do that or front flick it out there. So yeah, this thing really melts into the hand, so that's pretty nice. I do like a lot of that kind of going on there. I don't know if it's just kind of the grease going on there or what, but I wouldn't mind having these jimps or crenellations maybe just a little bit sharper on this. Looks like they were knocked down a little bit after they were carved in. But yeah, that's super nice. Pinch grip feels super great as well. Reverse, especially with that dip that we have there, really catches that index finger, so that's all sorts of great. But also with that trailing point there, if you are doing a reverse grip, I would avoid anywhere along this line, or else you're just going to slip right out of that cut. So yeah, that's just the nature of that particular blade shape there. Access to the lock bar in this one, well, we have the scallops on the inside, but they are flush. So there's that. Not exactly the absolute easiest thing in the known universe to close, but you know, I'm not having any troubles with it. Let's see, and yeah, I can see we have the blade stop pin is mounted on the blade itself. That does help when it's open and closed in the kind of side-to-side play area, as it forces itself basically up against the inside channel there to increase stability. So that's nice. But I generally don't like it when they're open like that. I know that helps them push the pivot farther up, and yeah, that definitely helps with handle to blade length ratio, but that just makes it really easy to get stuff in there. Whereas this one here, yeah, we still have one of those internal pins, but it is fully encapsulated there. We don't have much. You can see the red G10 behind there, but it is fully closed. It just helps a little bit to keep all the pocket schmutz in your pocket rather than inside your knife, which might make it feel a little funky. But yeah, I'm liking this guy. It's pretty neat. Maybe not one of those that I would use for an EDC super often. Probably just because of the trailing point nature of the blade. But because of that, I could really see this being fairly useful in probably some hunting kind of situations and stuff like that. I would say that D2 is probably not a great steel for the hunting situation because you are dealing with moist and liquidous bodily fluids and things like that. And some of them might be a little more acidic than others or something like that. So D2 probably wouldn't be my first choice for it. But with that trailing point, you can really get up there for doing some of the caping, kind of doing the skinning around the head area and protecting that tip if you're working around any of the internal thingies, so you don't accidentally poke those and foul some meat or any of that sort of stuff. But yeah, this thing is rather impressive overall, though. Liking it quite a bit. But okay, yeah, that's the TS367. We also have the TS258 from Wong. Oh, this is a Raihi, in case I didn't actually mention that verbally, even though it's been on screen for a while. And of course the Viper Knives Hug in the dark bronze starburst finish. All right. So that's what I have now. This I've actually been waiting for a while. I did say that it was kind of lost in the mail a little bit. Enough so that both of these guys made it stateside and to my door at the same time as this one was. Looks like it got lost in Kansas for a while, which is interesting because it came from New Hampshire. But all right, yeah, whatever. Man, this thing is it is not a light thing. You can definitely use this as an impact tool or something like that if you really needed to. Let's see. Now that I'm just wasting everyone's time, I did want to actually pull out a couple of knives for comparison. So there's the PM2, fairly similar in blade length and handle length to the 258 there. Well, since that one's fairly big, let's go ahead and compare that to the Manix 2XL, and kerblam, it is quite close to that. And of course a little bit smaller on the 258. Let's see. Well, sure. We got the Benchmade bug out. Yes, very much smaller. How about the 940? Okay, there we go with that too. Why not? That's not the one I wanted anyway. I want the Ontario Rat. Where'd that go? There we are. The Ontario Rat #1. That definitely makes sense for the size of these knives. But okay, I think for now I'm gonna wrap these up and try to get this section of the video out so I don't accidentally fall too far behind, because I already had another one of these that I'm one behind on as of the recording on this. So you'll probably see one more before you end up seeing this one. That's just kind of the nature of the beast and the laziness of the me. So there you go. As always, I appreciate y'all for watching, and have yourself a wonderful rest of your day, yo. And subscribe.